How were ancient ships launched? Have you ever wondered how ancient civilizations managed to launch their impressive ships into the water? The process was quite remarkable and involved a mix of clever techniques and teamwork. Let's break it down. Ancient ships were typically built close to water sources like rivers, lakes, or coastal areas. This strategic choice made it easier to move the completed vessels into the water. However, launching these ships was no small task, especially since they were often made from heavy timber and assembled from multiple planks. One of the most common methods for launching ships was the use of slipways. A slipway is a gently sloping ramp leading into the water. Once the ship was ready, it would be placed on wooden rollers or sledges and slid down the slipway. To make this process smoother, the slipway was often greased with animal fat or oil to reduce friction. Archaeological findings and experimental archaeology confirm that this method was practical and widely used. Another technique involved placing logs or wooden rollers under the hull of the ship. This allowed workers to roll the vessel toward the water, which was especially helpful for heavier ships. Sometimes, cradles made of wood were used to stabilize the ship during this movement, ensuring it remained secure. In certain cases, builders constructed dry docks or ponds that could be flooded. This method allowed for a controlled launch, where the ship would float once the water level rose. This technique was notably used in ancient Mediterranean and Egyptian contexts. The launching process required a lot of manpower. Large teams of workers, often assisted by animals like oxen, provided the necessary force to move the ship on rollers or sledges. Coordinated efforts and the use of ropes and levers were essential to ensure a successful launch. The method chosen for launching often depended on the ship's design. For instance, in ancient Greek shipbuilding, the shell-first construction method was common. This involved assembling the hull planks before adding internal framing. These ships were lighter and more flexible, which influenced how they were handled during launching. On the other hand, clinker-built ships, like those used by the Vikings, had overlapping planks that created a strong but flexible hull. These vessels were relatively light and could be carried or slid into the water more easily. Experimental archaeology plays a significant role in understanding these ancient launching techniques. By reconstructing ships using traditional methods and materials, archaeologists have tested various launching methods. For example, replicas of ancient Mediterranean ships have been successfully launched using greased slipways and rollers, confirming historical accounts. Similarly, Viking ship replicas have been moved over logs and sledges, showcasing the feasibility of land transport and launching 4 larger vessels. These practical experiments reveal the labor, tools, and environmental conditions that ancient shipbuilders faced. In summary, launching ancient ships was a complex process that depended on the ship's design, size, and local environment. Techniques like slipways, rollers, lubrication, and coordinated human or animal effort were key to safely moving these vessels into the water. Through archaeological findings and experimental reconstructions, we gain a clearer picture of how ancient societies skillfully launched their ships.